I'm kind of scared because I say all these things about how the matrix is cracking. We need to build a new system. But it's happening in direct correlation at exact the same time as AI is taking over. And I'm kind of scared that AI is going to enslave us all now. I'm kind of sitting there going, is this new technology going to be used for our benefit or to perma-enslave us?
What do you imagine the world to look like in 5-10 years time? As I mentioned earlier on, you got AI and you got Apple Vision Pro, and eventually they're going to come out with sunglasses like the ones you're wearing now that have every little thing that you need to see in front of you. So what do you imagine the world to look like?
It's a good question. And I'm going to tell people how I came to my answer. I think the best way to predict the future is to study history. I believe in times of old. Let's go back the last 3,000 years. If you were a king, your life was pretty good. Or it was as good as life could be. To be a king, you had power, influence, money. That's what you had, and you were a king, and you lived a good version of life. If you weren't a king, you were an average man, a common man. And I think the world is cyclical. When you were a common man 2,000 years ago, you were effectively a slave, and life was terrible. And then that was the same all the way up to perhaps 1930s, 1940s. Being a common man was pretty terrible. And perhaps it was the war and the massive loss of life. Perhaps it was something else, I'm not sure. But I kind of feel like there was a golden period between in the 50s to 60s to 70s to 80s, maybe even the 90s, where being a normal, hardworking man, because life is cyclical, went from being a terrible existence to quite a good existence. In the 60s, you could be a normal man who worked in a factory, an unskilled labor job, and with one wage, you could afford a house, you could afford a car, you could afford to raise a family, your children would not be taught garbage in school, your wife would respect you, you'd have a home-cooked meal.
Times were good.
Times were good. And I feel like, because it's cyclical, those good times are over, and we're going back to where it was before. The kings have always been fine, and we always will. But if you're the common man, I think that the good days are over. And I think it's going to get harder and harder. The common man is about to get wrecked. I think inflation is going to make it exceptionally difficult. I think AI is going to make most jobs worth less than they already currently are. Mm-hmm. If you're a newspaper writer or whatever, AI is going to take that in the next 10 years. Yep. And you're going to, if you still have a job, it's going to be only managing the AI, which means you're going to be paid even less than you're currently paid. I think life is about to become exceptionally difficult for the people in the middle. I think the good times are over. I think it's going to go back to the feudal system of kings and serfs and peasants. And I think if you're a normal, average person now, you should feel deep fear and panic and understand that you have a certain amount of time to get into the higher bracket of the social class before these hard times come. And the most scary thing about these hard times is I feel like the gap is going to permanently close. But if you're the average person at home and you're watching AI continually take over the world and you're not at least learning how to implement it so you can benefit, you're toast. You're toast. Most people are going to be replaced so quickly. I don't think the average person at home realizes how replaceable they are. I'd argue now that 80% of the normies I talk to, ChatGPT would be far more interesting than them. They're that boring. The average person at home, if they were trying to get a girl, would be better off putting ChatGPT in the combo than themselves. That's how bad they are. And they're arrogant and they're narcissistic and they think, no, I'm special. Most of you are not special. You're not. And because you're not special, you're going to be replaced by machines. And once you're replaced by machines, you're going to become useless. And you're still going to have expectations. You're still going to want to eat, and you're still going to want a wage, and you're still going to want a good house and a nice car. What are the elites going to do with the populace once they become completely useless and remain to be entitled? You're useless eaters. Useless eaters always end up decimated. In any period of human history, any civilization, if you had a large subsect of the populace that had no purpose, they got decimated. So if you're at home sitting there thinking, well, I can become useless and the government will just feed me, I'd argue they'll starve you to death instead because they don't need you around. And most people are going to be replaced very quickly by these machines. Sora, I said to my camera guys when I saw Sora, I was like, you're out of a job. You're fired. We started laughing about it. But it's true. And think of how fast technology advances. Where are we going to be in 20 years from now?
Yeah, it's going to be crazy.
It's insane. You need to get ahead of these things. In regards to AI, I think it has to be adopted. Inside of my school, Hustlers University, we teach AI with absolutely everything. A lot of the images we generate, even on my Twitter account, is all AI. And what's actually scary about the modern world is, I don't consider myself old, I'm 36, but some of the children, I call them children, 17, 18-year-olds inside of my school, Hustlers University, they're AI wizards, and they can do magic with this stuff. Magic. Like they can literally, genuinely, Andrew Tate on the moon, and the image is generated in seconds. Like artists are going out of business. I thought AI would put truck drivers out of business. Artists are going out of business. Musicians are going out of business. It's kind of scary. I do like to think that with things like AI, there's always going to be some degree of natural separation between the men who are genuinely inventive and killers and the men who are more. Let me change the way I say that. I think if you're an exceptional person, a truly exceptional person, you don't have to be afraid of nearly anything. But man, you'll probably agree with this. In my experience, in nearly every business in the world, you have 10% killers, and then you have a bunch who want the paycheck. They do their job, but I wouldn't say they're killers. You understand? Mm-hmm. And we live in a society for a long time where I can even tell you now, sometimes when I hire, I'll say to my cousin or to my COO, I'll say, look, either get one killer or 3 normal people. Because that's the reality. That's the basic. You either need 3 people to half do the job, or you need 1 killer to do the job. And I think that those 3 people who half do their jobs, enough to not get fired, they turn up most of it on time, but they're not really that motivated. Those are the ones who have to fear AI. I think businesses in the medium term are going to become killers and AI. I tell them now, I have some guys who work for me on one particular company and their sales staff. I was reading through the sales scripts. The killers doing really well. But the average guys, I said, you're not doing much better than ChatGPT could do right now. I want to warn you that you're not doing much better than I could replace you with a machine today, let alone in 5 years from now, for free. You need to be careful. So I think it's just becoming more and more competitive. The idea that you can just be Joe Schmo, do your job, turn up, I don't try that hard, it's fine. I think that's all going to go out the window, because as the world becomes more competitive, as a company, you have to compete with your competitors. And the only way you're going to be able to do that is just, where do you cut the fat? Where do you cut the flat? When I see AI popping up and getting more and more intelligent in the way it's talking, that doesn't scare me. But I have a way with words. And if I was Joe Schmo, I'd be afraid. This Chat GPT can probably text your girl better than you can. He'll probably get laid faster than you will.
Advice for the guys out there.
Yeah,
right? Just
plug it in your phone. He'll do better than you do. So that's scary, you know?
That's
and
hilarious.
I think that's what the average man really needs to struggle. And I've been saying, this has been my message for a very long time in all realms. I've said for a very long time that life for the average man is going to get harder and harder. It's becoming more and more competitive. You need to find more and more ways to stand out and be unique. And the only way to really do those things, unfortunately, as a man, is to suffer. I think that if you're prepared to suffer and you're prepared to show that your brand or your personal brand stands up for something, and you have information which people then believe they need, you're going to be very successful in the world today. I feel like a lot of the attention geopolitically is going to be moving towards the global south in the second and third world. And I think a lot of people understand there's always been more opportunity in the second and third world than in the first world, where a lot of things are wrapped up. Mm-hmm. I think the internet is giving a lot of access to these places that perhaps didn't exist before.
Absolutely.
I think artificial intelligence involved in these places is also going to be extremely important. I feel like selling information or being the barrier to information is a fantastic way to get wealthy in the world today. There's a lot of people who want things explained to them in a very concise, very quick, very compendious way.
Right.
And if you can take information which is perhaps freely available that takes an hour to explain and explain it in 30 seconds or less, you're going to find a way to monetize that.
Right.
Especially if you can draw attention to yourself and make it clear how much time you can save people.
Right.
Especially if you could use artificial intelligence to get that 30 seconds down to 25 seconds.
Right.
There's actually endless opportunity if you're prepared to work. I don't know how people in the first world aren't extremely concerned. Mm-hmm. You were being replaced by effectively foreign call centers for a while. That's something that's been going on for a while. And now we have artificial intelligence coming, and most people are so boring and uninteresting, and they have not suffered enough to be unique. Therefore, they're going to soon be replaced by a free chatbot.
Right.
It's a free chatbot that could already replace a large subsect of the population as we stand right now. Imagine we're going to be in 2 or 3 years from now. I think the average person in the Western world hasn't woken up and realized that everything's becoming more expensive and your currency's inflated and there's no chance that anyone's going to fix it for you. And they're out to replace you, people from the second and third world who will work harder than you for less money.
Do a great job.
And do a great job.
English, yeah.
Absolutely. And the robots are coming and they're going to replace you for even less than the second worlders want. And you're sitting there thinking you don't have to be exceptional and you don't have to learn to think outside the box. You don't have to suffer in any way to become a unique person. And you're just going to somehow, pay your bills? Mm-hmm. No, you're not. You're going to get destroyed. destruction's coming for you, and then you're going to become a useless person because you're not going to have a job that you're prepared to do at the price that people are prepared to pay. And once you become a useless person, you have to sit and go further down the rabbit hole of history and see what's happened to all the people of Earth that were useless. What happened to all the people who had dreams and aspirations and expectations, and they were no good to those in power? Because I can tell you, yeah, work that one out. You're going to see very quickly that you're not going to exist for very long. It's and bro, when I saw that Sora AI thing, this is to all the cameramen in the room, including my guy. I saw that Sora AI thing. I was like, bro, even camera guys are going to be gone soon. Hollywood's gone. Actors are gone.
Yeah.
Script writers are gone.
Right.
Everyone's going to lose their job. Everyone. You have to be sitting there. And I don't know if the average cameraman's sitting saying, they're going to replace me with this. Maybe not now. Maybe not in a year, but certainly in 2. They're going to be able to ask a robot for the thing I would take months to film, and the robot's going to spit it out instantly. So how do I, A, integrate this with my skills so that when they want to use the robot, instead of asking the robot directly, they ask me because they can get a better result via me? How do I use AI along with my camera skills so I can continue to retain my job? Or 2, how do I diversify? What can I do that this robot can't do currently, or I don't believe it will be able to do into the future? But the average camera guy doesn't give a shit. Oh, camera guy, Sora, yeah, that's cool. Do, off the cliff. Yeah. Oh, I didn't see it coming. How did this happen to me? Why am I unemployed? You're a useless eater now. Enjoy the concentration camp. That's what's going to happen. So you have to be paying attention and thinking worst case scenario. They're coming for absolutely everybody and everything. And a lot of these personal brands, unless they're built on the back of a whole ton of suffering, I think they're going to suffer also. I don't know how they're going to have a personal brand based on just talking motivational quotes. Yeah. I haven't even done this. Someone should go to ChatGPT and say something philosophical and motivational, which inspires me. And I guarantee you can start reading things and go, crap, that's pretty good. Yeah, oh no, that's pretty good. It'll be scary to read.
Yeah. It's an inevitable reality that people have to.
It's an inevitable reality, and I don't think most people are even considering that they're replaceable or going to be replaced.
Mm-hmm. And seeing it early enough to pivot and make it work. Yeah, absolutely.
It needs to cross your mind. Yeah. The one good thing about something like artificial intelligence is if you position yourself now, if you get in a position where you can use it before other people can, then people will hire you to use it for them. Work with the machines. You don't have to work against them. You can work with them. But firstly, you need to learn how to use it, and we will teach you inside of Hustles University, which you can access. But once again, most people are stupid, lazy, or arrogant. Artificial intelligence is not too hard to use. You can join our school, and we'll teach you exactly how to use it. Mm-hmm. Only 5% of people will be too stupid to do it. The majority of people are too lazy to do it. Mm-hmm. They're too lazy to join my school. They'll sit here and listen to this whole podcast, and then I'll say, I have a school which will teach you how to use the machines to print you money. And they're still too lazy to go and learn, and they're going to wonder why they're broke forever, or they're too arrogant. I don't need the AI. Oh yeah, it's probably something that'll exist and it won't affect me. Good luck, friend.
Yeah, I think AI, we've talked about the negative effects of AI. We know that it's bad for you. The reality of life is that once that technology is invented, you're never going to uninvent it.
Oh, of course.
Like, we know social media is bad for you. But you're never going to uninvent social media. It's here forever.
But it can be used for good and bad.
Exactly. And AI is here forever. And it's going to get worse and more advanced. It's going to take over parts of our lives. We know this. As much as you want to hate it and fight it, as much as I think it's going to be so much evil that comes from it, you have to almost understand it.
Well, I'll give you a very quick example. It can be used for good or bad. Social media can be negative if you sit there and digest bad information, but it's also one of the reasons we managed to get to such large
correct.
Such a large subsets of the population, so it can be a good thing and a bad thing. Inside the real world, inside my online university, we push AI very heavily. And I was having a conversation with someone the other day who said, oh yeah, I don't use AI because I'm a club promoter. I said, if you're in any business in the world today, it doesn't matter if you're a plumber, it doesn't matter if you're a club promoter, it doesn't matter what business you're in, you should be learning how to implement AI because it's going to be the people who use AI and the people who fail. Those are the only two options. Which is why we teach it so heavily inside of my university. And I said to the club promoter, what do you do? He said, well, I get guys to book expensive tables at the club because I bring pretty girls to the table. I said, okay,
Well, if you had an AI machine, let's say you use Sora to put together a video of the best club night ever, and let's say you use ChatGPT to speak to lots of girls and explain what's going to happen and why they're going to have a great time at the club, and also get ChatGPT to speak to rich men and explain to them what a great time they're going to have, and you could mass speak to people at a much larger rate than you can do by yourself sitting there typing, you're going to make more money.
Yeah.
You can implement AI in club promotion. You can get the most fancy video, and you can get a ChatGPT learning bot to realize exactly, this is actually a point I want to make, to realize exactly what trigger words get the girls to want to party and what trigger words get the guy to want to spend money. And you can put together some data, and you can stop talking to people completely, and you can focus on the AI learning mechanisms to do all the work for you, which is why we're teaching it inside of my university. There's not a job on earth where you shouldn't be using AI mechanisms to do it for you, because that's what they're doing to us already.
Yeah.
We live in this surveillance capitalism world where a lot of the tech companies, a lot of the largest companies in the world are making money purely based on prediction of our behavior. They build digital versions of us online. They build there's a digital Matt, there's a digital Andrew based on all of our spending habits, how long we spend on each website, which part of the website we click on first, which websites we visit, how long we spend on our email, which email topics make us reply. They're constantly gathering data on us and putting together digital versions of us so they can predict our behavior to make as much money from us as possible. And once they can do that, they then try and alter our behavior so that we become more profitable. And they do this on purpose so that we become a person who's worth $12.59 to be a person who's worth $14.03 by altering how we react to certain things. So they're already building algorithms and trying to adjust how our mind works. And if you have a company or you are interested in making money in the world today, and you're not considering doing exactly that, you're going to permanently fail. And AI is going to make it harder and harder, again, for those average men. It's going to be harder and harder. I don't think the exceptional men are ever going to suffer from AI. I think we're going to use AI.
Yeah, and I agree completely. I think a lot of people say, hey, I'm working 2 jobs and I feel like I need a way to make some extra income. Yes, I agree. You need more money. Everyone needs more money. If you want to learn something, if you're 15 or you're 55, it's not too late to get into AI.
100%.
And yes, is it evil? Yes, I think so. However, you're not going to uninvent it.
Yeah.
You might as well learn it, because this is a way where you can add some extra income to your life. And it's not overly difficult if you just spend a little time to figure it out.
And this is what's interesting, because the current educational systems of Earth, none of them are teaching it.
Yeah.
I mean, perhaps maybe you go to MIT and you learn about robotics or something, fine.
And at a very advanced level, which you don't need.
Absolutely. The average school isn't teaching you about AI. The average MBA you will do won't teach you about AI. I'm going to sit here and make it very clear and obvious. The only school on the planet I can find that will teach you about artificial intelligence is my one, the real world. It's $49. For $49, we'll teach you exactly how to use AI to make a whole bunch of money. Which goes back into a point I was saying earlier about certain people are just tied into the matrix and don't want to be freed. If we will sit here and have a long conversation about how artificial intelligence is going to replace most people, and if you don't implement it, you're going to become useless, and your entire bloodline is going to be exterminated because you don't serve any purpose to society. And I'm going to teach you how to use artificial intelligence for $49, and you're still not going to do it, well, then I guess you just deserve eternal slavery for your bloodline. Some people are just born to lose, I assume. But it's extremely important we implement these things. So when I watched Sora, the conversations I've had, this was only 2 days ago, I was on the phone for 6 or 7 hours with my team inside the real world saying, okay, how can we use this? What can we do with this? And there's 2 different ways to look at it. There is, how can we use artificial intelligence now when no one else is really using it? How do we get ahead of the curve and continue to make millions of dollars? That's easy. The real question is, how do we use AI when everyone else is using it? Once it becomes mainstream and everyone else can do it, when everyone else can produce adverts at the drop of a hat, when everyone else can make their product look fantastic when it isn't, when everybody else can use ChatGPT to be extremely funny and charming and interesting, when there's neurolinks in their brain and everybody can talk like Andrew Tate, because right now only Andrew Tate can talk like that. When I lose my ability to speak more concisely and compendiously than everybody else, how do I compete then? That's going to be the hard one. But right now we're in a transitional period where it's easy. Because if you join the real world or you pay attention or you learn these things, you're so ahead of everyone else. It's like the first person to turn up to the gold mine. And you can just dig and pick up all the gold. But there'll become a time where the gold mine's flooded. And that's where you really have to think ahead. So we had a long conversation about how to make a bunch of money now, and that was easy. But the real question is, how do we all make a bunch of money in 20 years when AI is standardized? That's what's going to be the interesting conversation.
I mean, the future is digital. Everything's going to be AI. Everything's going to be digital. We know this for sure. If you think it's not, you got your head in the sand, it's happening no matter what.
100%.
You have to embrace AI. That's what I think.
Yep, 100%, because it allows you to work at mass at a much more effective rate.
Yeah.
much more effectively. I mean, the amount of websites which, I mean, copywriting is a thing, right? And it still is a thing. But the amount of websites which could benefit from a complete copy change with ChatGPT would make their copy better than it currently is.
Yeah.
The amount of average electricians that have a little terrible website somewhere in Texas, and you could literally ChatGPT their entire website, and you could charge them money for that, and they don't even realize that you use ChatGPT because they don't have a clue what it is because they're behind the times, and you could literally make money for 10 seconds. Now, if you could get an AI bot to reach out to them all, if you get an AI bot to speak to them all, if you could produce them a movie using Sora, showing the coolest electrician on earth, like there's so much potential that can be done. It's so ridiculously easy to make money if you actually try. But implementing AI is something you need to do because it's the future.
It's like ignoring gunpowder. If you ignore gunpowder, you'll lose the war. You could have looked at gunpowder at some point and said, we got bows and arrows, it'll be fine. No, well. As it advances, it's going to get to the point where they soon have Gatling guns and you're all toast.